frost has finally gotten to the peppers, so I'm just kind of clearing some stuff out here. My friend Serena got me a couple of garlics to plant, so we're going to be planting those garlics today. I already have one set of garlics planted. I did the same thing I did before. I sort of missed the boat, so to speak, and missed my garlic ordering, just with everything that's going on here. That's gonna take a shovel. I wasn't able to order on time, but my good friend Serena got me some Romanian red and some Nootka Rose. So along with the generic store stuff that's organic that I planted, that's already starting to come up, I'll show you in a minute. I'm going to be planting those two winter varieties, so I'm pretty excited about that. My Tabasco put up a valiant effort. It tried, but the frost eventually always wins. The artichoke looks like it's loving life right now, which is kind of cool. So I think I'll grab a shovel, pull up my Tabasco, and get some garlic planted in these planters so we can have some nice heads of garlic in the spring. This will all end up going in the compost. We'll chop it up, toss it all in the composter. Don't want anything to go to waste. Love that composter. I think next spring I'm gonna make a couple of changes to it. I'll show you what those will be, because I'll film it, but it'll help me out a little bit. It's always nice, you build something, you use it for a bit, and you realize what you can add to it that makes it work for you a little bit better. And that kind of is what happened with the composter. This bed already has a nice bit of hay, or a nice bit of straw in it. So I think I may go with these two beds, because last year I had my garlic back over here. So I'm trying to scoot around. We have two more beds that Mr. Blue Jeans is building that are gonna come in here. The hope is I can do a few more. The bigger hope is that Sammy and I are gonna get in here, kind of try to get rid of the weeds that are dying, lay some landscape fabric down, staple it down, put some pea gravel. That's sort of our winter project this year. We've talked about it. That's what we want to get done, because the weed situation is much too much. I would rather concentrate that time on the planters and not weeding my weeds that were this tall, for those of you that saw those videos. So that's the winter project, and hopefully this spring, I don't know, but hopefully we can double the size of the garden. I'd like to have an area that isn't raised beds, is something a little bit different, whether it's mound planting or row planting or whatever. I want to double the size of the garden, but those are big words. We'll see if I eat them. There's something neat about the seasons. And even though it's kind of coming to the end, so to speak, getting in, cleaning out, knowing that you're going to start fresh and new in the spring, looking forward to it. You know, when those plant catalogs come in and you start looking through and you're all excited again, unlike, oh, I don't know, August or September when you're canning and wondering why you planted all this stuff. How do we forget so easily? I don't know. But it's good that we have plant amnesia, or maybe seed amnesia. It's a good thing. But it feels good to get in here and clean these out and get the beds strawed and ready for next year. I love it. I'm planting the Nootka Rose first. And you can see why they call it that. It's actually got a really beautiful shade of oops, if I could hold on to it, of rose in it. Isn't that pretty? So these are cold weather hardy. And our crop from last year, even though it was just from the grocery store, organic grocery store cloves, did really good. The biggest problem I had were the guinea hens loving the tops of the garlic. It turns out they like alums. They like garlic and onions. So this year, one of my thoughts is I'm going to take some metal aluminum piping like that electrical conduit and put it above the planters with some fishing wire and some CDs. So maybe the shiny will keep them away. Maybe it'll deter them a little bit, which would be lovely. We ended up having just enough garlic. I'm sorry, I'm looking down at these. I want to plant the bigger heads, and then if I have room for the smaller ones, I'll put the smaller ones in. We ended up getting just enough garlic that I think is going to get us through December, which isn't bad because we're big users. So this year, if I can protect everything, I think last year we planted 150 heads. I mean cloves, heads, wow. So I'm hoping this year we can get ourselves to the next harvest, which would be super. It's all learning. Everybody learns differently. I read the books, I do. They give me a general idea, but honestly, getting out here and just doing it, having the failure or the success is more so how I learn. Parker, our little baby donkey, is doing great. Today is his 7th day here with us. It's hard to believe. Last Monday I was coming out to a baby donkey that we hadn't expected to see so soon. He is hilarious. He is definitely a little boy. Let me tell you, he jumps and kicks and he's a whole lot of fun. And now when I come into their corral, he runs right up to me, which is great. I really want him to be comfortable with the family and have him enjoy us as much as we're going to enjoy him. So I guess I'll get to planting the rest of this, and then the Romanian red as well. And that'll be exciting. The garlic beds will be in place. All right, in goes the Romanian red. This is definitely a much bigger clove. That is huge. I might give this one a little bit more room. Looks like it's gonna need some elbow room. Looks like I'm gonna get both of these plantings in this one bed. That leaves me with one more bed I had put aside. My goodness, you guys, unbelievable how big. That gives me one more bed. So I will probably do one more planting. I would say that garlic is probably our #1 go-to here on the farm for cooking. And I'd like to eventually have enough for all 3 houses. I'm also hoping I get good enough at this next year that the cloves are nice enough. The ones last year were a little puny, but I think that had something to do with it was just organic store-bought. Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. But I'd like to be able to just take some of the cloves or some of the nicer heads. This is just beautiful. This is what I would love to be able to produce at some point. Mine were, oh, I don't know, about yay big. Not this size at all. And that's okay. First time around, at least I had some, right? And I still have some. The taste was delicious. They're just small, so we had to use a lot more, which was fine. I'd say after garlic onions are our favorite. And I'm pretty big on rosemary and lots of peppermint. I'll be doing a lot more peppermint soon, I hope. The farmhouse garden, when the farmhouse is done, will be more of my herb, kind of like French market garden. I also have thoughts of planting an herb garden for dogs. Herbs that the dogs can have that are okay for them. And we'll talk about different remedies and tinctures and things that you can use that are safe for your dogs if that's something that you're into. It's something we're into. But that'll be over at the farmhouse, so that's not something I'm going to start down here. This one has not set its sights on letting go. There we go. All right, I believe, I'm sorry, I still just can't get over. Look at that. Wow. Now I'm hoping when I pull these out next year that they look as good next year as they do now. Of course, I'm using my favorite hori knife. You will rarely see me in the garden without it. It's so versatile. I absolutely love this knife. Supposed to have our first snow tonight. Now snow here is an inch or so, not like when we were in Wisconsin, but still. This garlic that I planted in October has already started to sprout a little bit, so I'm bedding it in a little bit thicker. So I couldn't leave you without a quick little saying hello to Parker and Bonnie. Bonnie's eating right now, and so is Parker. Don't know that you can see him very well. We filled in the corral since the weather's getting a little cooler. This will eventually be tinned. But we also sort of blocked the area for Clyde too. He would get a little rambunctious and get Bonnie a bit worked up. So we thought it'd probably be better, not just for the wind, but for Bonnie's well-being and the baby's well-being, to block this a little bit. Of course, Clyde has this whole area to see the baby. But eventually, Parker will be in another area on his own with a buddy of his own in time. And Bonnie and Clyde will be back to being husband and wife. But that's a ways away right now. Let me see if I can get you in here. I think Parker and I were just playing, so he's a little thirsty. It's cute. I'll come out, he runs out to me. I'll kind of walk away from him like, okay, we're done now. And he comes running up behind me, which I'm loving. He has a lot of kick action though, which I'm not loving. So I've got to figure out how to fix that. Not quite sure what training system I'm going to do. There's the standard just come out and do your thing, or you can do clicker training. I don't know. This is all new to me. I didn't do, obviously the older donkeys were older. I didn't do any clicker training. I just try to have them understand that I'm here for them and that we're going to get along and we're friends for a good long time. So I haven't decided what to do with Parker yet. He's 7 days old, but if any of you have donkey experience, I'd love to hear from you. Here he is. I'd love to hear from you and what your suggestions might be of how you would train or have trained your babies. He is enthralled with this corral rake. Let me get out of the way. He loves the corral rake. He also, typical of a kid, when I rake things up, he likes to come and mess it up. That's what Parker does. But he's been really good about me touching him. I've been starting to kind of circle him so I don't get the old kickback that I don't want to get. But I do want to do some sort of formal training, and I'm just not quite sure what that's going to be yet. So I'm going to get back to getting the coop cleaned out. We're going to fill it pretty thick with straw tonight. We're supposed to have our first snow, as I had said earlier. And I want them to be very, very cozy. You never know what this guy's going to do next.